I'm Judi Vitale of ReadTheStars.com, and I'm here to talk about April 2012. Are you ready? Can you believe it that it's April already? The year is really going quickly for me anyway, and I think for most of the people I know. April is more of a start out like a lion and finish like a lamb. Well, kind of, or maybe the reverse. But there's going to be a shift, a distinctive shift during the month of April. It will all begin with Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde. And that has, I think, really been keeping most of the other things that are going on in the sky a little bit quieter than they might be otherwise. So while we might be thinking, oh, well, my goodness, Uranus and Pluto are coming into a square and Jupiter and Neptune are coming into a square before too long, that period of time at the end of June, I think, is going to be extremely active. But up until now, it's been kind of slow because we've been dealing with this Mercury retrograde and this Mars retrograde. And, it's just day-to-day life has been more difficult than it usually is on account of these factors. So Mercury goes direct on April the 3rd. And it will go into Aries from Pisces on April the 16th. Mars will come out of its retrograde on April the 13th. So the period around the 14th, 15th, and 16th is going to be really powerful for starting something new. This is also because the new sign will be beginning when Sun moves into Taurus on April the 19th, a little bit earlier than usual this year. The moon cycle is out of sync again. Usually you like to think new moon beginning of the month, full moon end of month. That's not how it's working. We're getting the full moon at the beginning of the month. It's going to be on April the 6th at 17 degrees of Libra. So if you were born somewhere there, in 10, 11, 12 of October, you're really going to feel this one. And then the new moon will take place at 1 degree of Taurus. So those of you born like April 22nd, April 21st in some cases, you're going to really feel the new moon. Again, the cycle of the full moon is a culmination, something that happens sort of from the outside, and the new moon is initiating activity. So it will be quite appropriate around that time, around April 21st, to be starting some new activity, and it will go probably faster than any other attempts you might have made so far this year. Venus moves into Gemini on April the 3rd, so that'll be a little shift too. People will become more talkative and less self-gratifying, if you pardon the wording, meaning that people will be looking out less for how they can gratify themselves and more how they can reach out to others. Jupiter will be zooming through Taurus now because it's really heading toward Gemini rather quickly. June 11th, Jupiter will go into Gemini, so you can see that's coming rather quickly. Saturn stays retrograde, and Pluto will go into retrograde on April the 10th. Normally, I would say, oh boy, this will make things a little bit quieter. Pluto goes into a long retrograde period every year, starting around this time and going, at this point in time, it's starting at this time of the year and then going on into September or so when it comes back forward. But because Jupiter is going to make a retrograde back and kind of crash into Uranus at the end of June for a very long and protracted cycle, which we will be discussing at length here on ReadTheStars.com, that's, it's important when when Pluto goes retrograde. And the Mercury retrograde continues to get Judy's tongue. Mercury and Uranus in a conjunction on April the 22nd. This will give you agitated minds, agitated mouths as well. And Mercury square Pluto on the 25th. People asserting themselves rather strongly, maybe more strongly than you think they should or you probably should. Venus square Neptune on April the 6th. This is a little bit of, oh, I love that, it's perfect. Well, it really isn't, so be careful with it. And then Sun opposite Saturn on April 15th. Tax day. This will be a moment when the things that we're trying to put forward get held up a little bit by Saturn. Saturn is also toying around there in the last degrees of Libra, but it's going retrograde right now. It will go from 27 degrees back to 25 degrees during the month of April. So again, in summation, Be prepared to start some new things around the middle of the month. And although you're going to have that Sun opposite Saturn for that one day, it's just a one-day thing. It's nowhere near as powerful as Mars coming out of retrograde, Mercury coming out of retrograde, and Venus changing signs. We're going to feel personally very different about what we do. Make the most of this time. There are going to be some factors coming up in coming months that are a lot more disruptive. So I want everybody to do their best work right now. Really be in touch with what you feel is your mission in life and work really hard at it. Okay? I'll be doing that too. So look for hearing from me some more. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them to me at Judi, Judi, at readthestars.com.